I must say. Just before I left, one of my favorite activities is to always Google for quotes. So I just randomly put a search for circle, and the first quote that came up said that most things look better when you put them in a circle. So I just, during the pandemic, Allah had come up with an idea called the Circle of Trust, which was really the possibility of a group of us coming together and really opening up and sharing all the concerns that we were all battling and just being there for each other. It is, in some sense, the Chennai Dance Circle is inspired by that idea. It's really an initiative close to our hearts because I do think that it's a possibility for dancers to come together and really share. So many times I speak to dancers individually, so many of you perhaps have conversations with each other, but we're trying to see, and like I say, it's just an attempt to see if we can come together as a community and voice out, celebrate all the good things, but also identify the problem areas and, attempt together to find and seek solutions for them. And really the Chennai Dance Circle comes from that intent. I'm extremely happy that some important people. I was really keen for Rojata from the Abhay to be here. I'm so glad that she's here. Thank you so much, Rojata. I'm very happy that Lakshmi Ramaswamiji is here. Thank you so much. We also have with us Priya Murli from the Spirit of Margari, who's here, arrived from Dallas this morning. Thank you, Nitin and Ji, for being here. My dear friends, Janaki and Sister Rekha, thank you so much. And so many of you, a big shout out. I'm sorry if I've missed someone. It's really just because I'm not able to spot people here from here. But a big thank you to dancers who agreed spontaneously to come on board. And trust me, this is a safe space. And trust me, the idea is really for us to ideally record this conversation, sharing it, and also jotting down points. And the idea is really to take it to people like presenters, organizers, curators, rasikas, to see how some of the problems that you might address, find some solutions. Even if you found one or two solutions, one of the biggest solutions I thought I will sort of set the ball rolling is to generate an audience. And that's really one of the biggest concerns that we at ALAP are battling, and I wonder whether that comes, because sometimes I feel if content is queen and if content is great, why is still there no audience? And why is it that in a world where social media and newspaper publicity is all doing its, if it's meant to do its work, why is it that we're still struggling to fill even a small black box? Is really a question that I feel that I am constantly searching for answers. I'm sure today we're going to listen to so many of you share some concern areas, but also celebrate the many, many strengths where the city is so close to Alap's heart, because it is here that we've built our base, and I'm sure it's so close to all of your hearts, all of you dancers who grow and nurture your dance here. So thank you for accepting our invitation. And thank you for being here. I'm going to start off with inviting Avanti Natarajan. I'm going to just share a very, very small introduction to Avanti, mainly for the sake of those who might watch this later. Avanti Natarajan, for those who don't know, is an architect, artist, and designer. She is the Director, Student Affairs at the Poway Group of Institutions and the co-founder of the Art Blue Creative Company, a branding, design, and architecture firm that works closely with many brands and individuals. She's also the co-founder of Live Trails, an initiative for parents and their children. She's a Bharatanatyam dancer and also closely works with many artists in their creative design interests in very dark forms. I've also had the privilege of working with her. She's a mentor at the Poway Vidyalaya, a dance school that is focused on providing quality dance education to children in Namakkal, a Tier 3 city. She is an active CII and CII IWM member at the Tamil Nadu State and Southern Regional level. Avanti, these are the perils of having a name with A, but I'm sure that you're going to set the tone for what is to come. So, welcome, and the mic is all yours.
Namaskar. I'm here to narrate a small story about a little girl from a very small town. I'm obsessed with Bharatanatyam. Travel back 30 odd years, there is this little girl from a very small town going to school just like any other school going way. She loved dance, but she never had an opportunity to learn dance under a able guru other than the teachers from her school. But her school at that point of time had created numerous opportunities for her and exposed her to different forms of Indian dance. Luckily for her, a teacher who trained under Kalamandalam relocated to her town. She was astonished to see and learn the art form through her. Also to understand the length and width of Bharatanatyam and the different nuances that the art form can hold. But the teacher also had to move on to a different town. Cut through 10 years later, she was still learning dance under different gurus. And she was still performing in different art competitions, events in her dance school as well as in her school. But she had an opportunity to come to Chennai for her cousin's celebration. She was in awe of the pedestal that the city had provided her. There were a lot of questions in her young mind. Why was I not able to do an elevation? What did enable my cousin, who was of similar age, to do her elevation? Though the questions may be very vague, I think it initiated a lot of dawn-posed queries in her. Years rolled on. She was the one who used all the opportunities that came her way. She was known for her dance, alongside her academics and arts. She came to Chennai to pursue her undergrad in architecture. Luckily, she was also able to pursue Bharatanatyam during her weekend sessions with the renowned guru. The main questions that she had as a younger self did find answers eventually. It was all about the larger ecosystem that the city provided for the art form, the domain knowledge and experts who were available, the community that was able to encourage, the community that one can look up to, learn and engage with each other, and finally, learning at first hand. She was part of the dance committee in her university, classical dance team, and she was able to even head it during the last 2 years. And she finished her undergrad, moved to US for her masters. She came back from US, but still the yearning for the art form and the urge to complete education had not mellowed down. Yet again, lucky for her family institution back in Namakkal had set up a dance school to nourish children with quality dance education, and the teacher, who was an alumni from Kalakshetra, had moved to the town. So she took a year break, trained under her, and presented her elevation in Chennai before Bharatama, which was the key. This is a story about a little girl who yearned for an art form and found that eventually in the city that is Chennai. It is very obvious that this is me. This is Savanthi Natarajan. I am an artist, architect, designer, and a dancer. Life has caught up. I am not performing these days, but I still feel the city has hold multitude of fractals in me with the art form. It gives me a reverberation to live amidst the art form, quenching my creative thirst and be one with it. Each conversation I have with an artist, each experience I have by the end of the performance, I try to channelize them into various artistic expressions, be it branding design or even architecture. I personally feel the aesthetics I pick from Bharatanatyam highly command and profoundly influence me when I express my artistic expressions in different art mediums. And I have to attribute it to the city which navigated me and given me such a journey of art. Through this story, I have narrated a story of a girl in the point of view of celebrating the strength of the city with respect to dance. The city still holds multitude of opportunities for young students. Reiterating some of the points that I have taken back from the city which I looked upon Chennai as a city with all its strength for dancers, the large community and ecosystem that is available for the art form for it to thrive and sustain, availability and accessibility of domain experts and domain knowledge, the community, the active community that is there to look upon, learn from each other, engage, learning at first hand, performance spaces both in informal and formal setting, and above all, the Rasikas. Believe me, Chennai audience are much way better than the audience you can find ever in Tamil Nadu. They are the best. The audience who can resonate with the art form, the audience who can enjoy and applaud the nuances of the dance form, music and simple, the large team that the dance or event can perform that day, the audience who actually push the dancer to look upon the art form to be a career option, maybe. I also feel, in an alternative prospect and perspective, the opportunities that are available for an active performing artist is same as for those who are aspiring to be one. For example, if I want to take my daughter and expose her to an art form, I can find innumerable events and performances that is happening very often in the city, which I think lacks in a city like Namakkal, a town like Namakkal, even in the same. I feel this city gives a platform for people as a resource, information, and inspiration, especially for youngsters, even as young as school-going children. There are multifaceted ways to look at the dance scene of Chennai, but I choose to see a bird's eye perspective of that of an outsider, and then delve into what does the city actually offers and juxtapose the same with the rest of Tamil Nadu with its strength. I thank Akila for this opportunity, for starting the conversation, for creating the circle, and finally, I want to quote, like Akila did, my favorite quote, and I want everybody to just think about that. Every one of us can contribute something to the world. It is just a matter of being given an opportunity to do so. Thank you.
Javashini. For those who don't know, Javashini is a multifaceted award-winning performer and researcher who blended two cultures, West Bengal and Tamil Nadu. A senior disciple of Dr. Lakshmi Ramaswamy, she aims to carry forward the legacy of Srimati Amudralaya, her Guru's Institute, and nurture students through an interdisciplinary and creative approach using the medium of Bharatanatyam. A junior fellowship holder from the Ministry of Culture, a Bhuvneshwar graded artist, she is empaneled with the South Zone Cultural Center and Speaker K, and has submitted her PhD thesis on new Nayikas in Kanchipuram University. She is a recipient of many awards. In research, she was awarded the Young Researchers Award in 2021 by the INSC Bangalore. Javashini has worked with media houses like the Hindu and Delhi Chronicle, and is also the creator of Suki, the dancing parrot, and the author of Learn Dance with Suki, which is an activity book on Bharatanatyam for children. Very warm welcome to you, Javashini.
Thank you, Timala and Akila. Time and again, you have been very, very generous to give me opportunities that has taken me one edge forward. Let me dive straight into the topic. And for some time today, I'd like to keep the emotions apart and get to the facts. The fact that I'm getting this platform to voice what has been floating within me for years, and I'm getting this platform to express myself, I consider it as a privilege and an opportunity. But the question remains, shall I be fearful of showcasing my weaknesses, lest the threats increase, or shall I glorify my strengths? This dilemma is not just for this evening, but it is about addressing issues that concern not just me, or that will concern not just me, but many others in our fraternity. So today I'd like to share with you experiences through the lens of a dancer from Bengal who came all the way at the age of 23 to Chennai, knowing nothing, neither the language, not having any friends or relatives. All she wanted was to make a mark as a dancer in the map of India, as a Bengali Bharatanatyam dancer. I was 23. I was 23 and I knew it was dance and Bharatanatyam. If it was dance and Bharatanatyam, it had to be Chennai because of the rich heritage and legacy that it provides and the immersive experience that it gives to all of us with respect to culture, language and exposure. I searched for teachers and institutions. Google gave me a very, very dense population to choose, each one promising access to quality training. So I had a shortlist. I shortlisted and reached out to a renowned guru, a Padma Bhushan, and I was asked a particular amount for training, which at that time for me was not possible. In Chennai, I had the option and the luxury to switch over to another, to I request another guru, again, yet another Padma Bhushan. We are already lucky to have so many Padma Bhushans in our city, and who never spoke about money, who told me I want commitment and I wanted to learn. I came here. The plus of being with the teacher was that he would take me across various performances in the city and would introduce me to other fellow dancers and senior dance exponents. And that is how I picked up what networking was. I didn't know, otherwise how would anybody even know me? So I also found a significant number of members from the expat community who were attending festivals, and I felt it was a great opportunity for me to interact with them, for them to know me. I was nothing, but I had dreams and they mattered to me a lot. An attractive environment for the arts, there were a galaxy of sabhas with a tagline of promoting talent, and I thought, wow, that's it. That this is where I belong and this is where I must belong. Slide change, please. But all these strengths of Chennai are not always the strengths for each and every one. Sometimes they prove to be our weaknesses. The rich heritage of Chennai is overwhelming, and my curious mind found it very difficult to choose a niche. It took me years and years to understand that probably nayakas or women or shades of emotions with respect to women was an area that I would focus on. Yesterday, I was interacting with a group of students, and I asked them, what would you want to become? They were all answers, but what do you want to become? Do you want to be a performer, teacher, researcher, what? There's so many avenues. They all of them unanimously said that they wanted to become a performer and a teacher. I think this is something that we can question. Is it important that all performers become teachers? A difficult issue that was raised yesterday in the conversation was that a teacher who is a performer often find it difficult to balance between the class hours. So many times the students are deprived of quality learning. While the immersive experience is wonderful, till filter coffee and hot sambar, I can recollect innumerable evenings spent in various spaces listening to lectures which are only coming. It is not very easy for someone who is coming from outside. And other than the ifs and the buts, I knew nothing. I walked out clueless and tired of trying to make out a word. It took me, I think I'm a little bit broken that situation and I'm a little understanding coming now. I went as an examiner in a reputed university, and I was told by the administrator that make sure all the students pass. I tried explaining that they were nowhere close to getting a graduation certificate on Bharatanatyam, and I feel standardization of quality is a big problem we face today. Coming to cultural festivals, they might be a plus, but stage performances are so common that there is even an intense competition now on how much to pay to get the slot and secure performance opportunities. Networking, plus again, comes with only recognition though, talking about ground reality. Let me take you to the first award I had received many years ago. I was one of the awardees, and I had my fellow dancers whom I did not know as well, I only heard, and I was not able to stand with them. I tried getting in, nobody paid any attention to me because they did not know me, because I was an outsider. Of course, I felt very lonely, and it took me a couple of years to develop my rapport, and that is a big challenge for an outsider. Today, when I look back, I can relate to the emotions that I felt that time. Today, when I meet them in various performances, various conferences, I feel very proud of myself that finally, probably I have been able to be a little more inclusive in this dance community. It is always a challenge to bridge the gap between the audience and the artist. To know what works for both is a lifetime journey. The platforms of talent are innumerable in Chennai. That's a strength. But what are the parameters and where do we find the right guidelines? I submitted my application in a reputed organization in the month of April. Following the submission guidelines, I was told the selection process was over for the upcoming year. And this is not a one-time occasion. It has been happening year after year. How is it that every time selections are over, even when the guidelines mention something else? I feel it is a weakness. Coming to opportunities, next slide please. So I dealt with the same strength. I felt that there were certain loopholes, they were the weaknesses, and I still wanted to fight out and not give up and turn those into opportunities. What did I do? Thanks to Allah for giving me various opportunities of collaborations. I remember a few years back during Corona, and I was nobody, and I don't know why I felt that I could do a collaboration with Apsara's Art Center. You had called me. That was a huge break for me, because I had never done something like that. I was in my own bubble, very, very protected by my teacher, and I had never tried doing something. And I felt that gave me a huge mileage in the digital platform. So I started, soon after that collaboration, I started doing various other digital programs. And how do I overcome other weaknesses in terms of the ones mentioned before is, I started learning from various workshops, various demonstrations, trying to turn every weakness into a plus. I even started doing common classes. I realized I had built a comprehensive network and an audience by multitasking. If dance alone as a student was not giving me the kind of avenues I was looking for, I started working for the media, for writing, for taking up any kind of opportunities of earning that would help me build a relationship within the dance community so that people come to know. I feel that was a great opportunity for me and I utilized it as much. But now coming to the threads, next slide please. Multitasking is not always easy. It is a huge challenge. Just because I want to build my network and I connect and I keep working, it was a total burnout and it is still, but one cannot help. In order to utilize the opportunities of collaboration, multitasking, learning from various sources and participating in various digital platforms, sometimes I wonder, where is my dance? I'm always busy running. And evolving artistic taste, we spent so many years trying to own a vinyl. And only now we realize, oh, the audience wants just a 30-second beat. What am I doing now? Too many programs, very few recipes, a particular problem. I'm sure all my fellow dancers and speakers will be talking about it. Benefits take many forms. Ego satisfaction, or in some ways monetary satisfactions. Let us not go deeper. And leave it to Akila to take that as a real case. A reputed institution back when I was invited and I wanted to come to Chennai, I had written to them. And they came to know that I was a daughter of an actor, a Bengali actor, my mother is an actor. And they automatically stigmatized me, thinking I had different value system. They did not even know me. It's a stigmatization. I think it's a very important point for all of us. Nobody knows about us. Why do people judge us? Declining patrons, again, very pertinent. In Chennai, we find sabas, organizations, platforms only in certain areas that make it very difficult for the public or for the audience to travel from elsewhere, but I think it is slowly picking up to a great extent. And as I finish, it takes a very, very long time to start. While there is an aura of the vintage, unfortunately for Indian classical dancers, career begins at 40. If today I can call myself a performer, a researcher, a teacher in Bharatanatyam, it is completely because of the unstinting support of my teacher, Dr. Rashmi Ramaswamy. Else, I wouldn't have been able to move an inch. And now additionally my husband. What I've learned over the past 30 years of my learning and 30 years in Chennai is that one has to navigate through the challenges, use every ethical opportunity and establish themselves in the vibrant scene of Chennai. Thank you.
The speaker is Janvi Sethumaran. For those who don't know, Janvi Sethumaran is a Bharatanatyam dancer and a teacher with a background in engineering and management studies. She quit her corporate career a few years ago to pursue dance full time. Janvi has given solo performances and lecture demonstrations in various cities across India and North America. She's performed main roles in productions orchestrated by senior Bharatanatyam gurus across major festivals and sabhas in India and abroad. An A-graded artist with the Doordarshan, she was recently awarded the Kala Ratna by Cleveland Tyagaraja Ratna and has had the honor of performing for the Indian Army at the Officers Training Academy in Chennai. She founded Sarvada Arts in 2020, a dance institution that is aimed at inculcating the art form with a holistic approach in a fun-loving manner. Very, very curious to hear about that as well, Janvi. She's a disciple of Shri K.P. Rakesh and Shrimati Nitya Vaidyanathan, who's here with us. Not sure Rakesh is here. Prior to this, she trained under Shrimati Anandana. Very warm welcome to Janvi.
Namaskaram, Shri Guru Namaha. Thank you, Akila, for the introduction. I am an original Chennai Vasi. I was born in T. Nagar. I studied in Gumakam, and my tryst with this beautiful art form started in T. Nagar. I literally lived in Gansla, so I lived in T. Nagar for a long time, so that was true. I moved to Hyderabad for my higher studies, and I traveled for work for dance across the US. I moved to London very briefly for family, and now I'm back home in Mugambakam, and I founded Sarvada Arts. I teach a small bunch of passionate youngsters, and now my learning continues. Once a student, always a student at Tiruvannur and Alvarpet, where my teachers Rakesh and Nitya Kalyanaka respectively stay. So my points for today stem from my experience of being associated with this art form for the past 2 decades and for about a decade teaching various youngsters, initially at my teacher's school, and then for spectacular demonstrations, etc. And my conversations with my teachers, which have been very intriguing. My horizon has kind of widened in the recent years, and I would like to attribute that to the conversations and to my travel, the experiences I learned from. This trend has been touched upon. Chennai is host to top-notch artists, historians. So during the Margay festival, when I interact with artists from other cities, I feel very lucky. So it's a lot of logistics to come plan their stays, spend on food, travel, etc. Just to get a glimpse of what we take so much for granted being born and brought up in this city. Access to modernity and heritage. It's a fine balance here. We've heard about the sabha, so you can walk in and watch a traditional dance margam being presented, ensemble works by youngsters and by senior artists. You also get to see experimental work. Two concerts are etched in my memory. One at Alec Francais, which I saw a couple of years ago. A Bharatanatyam dancer had portrayed episodes on Krishna just to flute and tabla music. There was no lyrical support or anything, and the audience comprised of dancers, just art lovers and theatre personalities, and it touched everybody in the audience. And the same stage a month ago, two wonderful artists, Divya Nair and Chennai already presented their work, rooted in the Bharatanatyam vocabulary but experimental work. So being in the city, you get access to both, and also different thought process and experimental work. Definitely, the visionary ideas of Srimati Rukmini Devi and her work with Kalakshetra did put Bharatanatyam and Chennai on the world map. The Sabha culture during the months of December and January, you know that the city takes such a festive-like fervor, which is true to just Chennai, I feel. And they were encouraging mamas and mummies. So I'm sure every one of us here has had some unforgettable interaction with the regulars of a Sabha. Their knowledge has blown my mind away many a times. Most of them have not even pursued the art form formally, but they're extremely knowledgeable and very critical. And they are definitely a lifeline to the Chennai's art scene. I'm going to be honest here, so when I was working on this, I had a number of things come to my mind just for the weakness aspect of the field. Excessive supply against limited demand. So Chennai as a city is extremely concentrated and dense. So I thought a lot before I put out a name for my school I wanted to teach. I stay in Nukumbakam, and any radius you take, I'm sure within 2 kilometers, any location you take, within a 2-kilometer radius, I'm sure you'll find dance teachers. Maybe as Javedi said, maybe not sabas yet, but dance schools definitely yes. And how does a normal person discern quality? That's a different question. So extremely dense and push versus pull culture. So I belong to the 90s generation. Even when I was in school, during my school days, I do remember that there were programs happening at the same time, a couple of programs, but it's increased phenomenally, exponentially over the years. So there are 100 things that happen at the same time. So earlier you just had to put out a program and the audience would pull automatically. Now programs are being pushed down our throats and it's extremely difficult to pull an audience. I think like I said, it's difficult to just build even a small black box. So this push versus pull culture has kind of caught up in recent times. And dependence on the sabas. So I think I can say that irrespective of where you present your work, it is a norm that you should present your work during the Margari season in a sabha. So it's not enough if you perform in a reputed sabha, but during the Margari season. Ingena aada seiyuma, December le engama aada. So that's a question I'm being poignantly asked, not just from people in Chennai but from abroad as well. So this tag definitely sells. So have you danced during the season here? Okay, then it is taken for granted that you are of a certain quality. Yes, it is true that the sabhas do discern quality, but what about the other number of dancers who are of good quality who do not get to showcase their talent in a particular venue, as Javisini pointed out? Dynamics of styles and its reception. So I think in recent times, the distinct lines between Banis have blurred, and maybe some styles are more popular maybe because of the sheer number game. There could be more practitioners in one particular style. I feel like styles are converging a little bit. This is absolutely a question of personal preference, how you want to take your art forward. But in my opinion, this is definitely a weakness. Maybe not just in Chennai, but for the dance fraternity as such. The points of differentiation are narrowing. It is wonderful that everyone is ambitious and everybody wants to break the glass ceiling. But where is this leading to? Everybody hits the gym, everybody is fit, everybody does difficult compositions or difficult, say, steps strung together in a choreography. Where does this lead us? Have we started approaching the art in a mechanical manner because of this push Is this why our learning has moved towards item-based learning and item-based approach to the art form as such versus working on a Varman for years? I'm not coming to, well, this has more advantages, this is good, this is not right. But this is definitely a point to ponder because this has its impact across other things. So Yogi Singh said there's burnout, and what about the impact on mental health and physical health? Money, oh God, it definitely does matter. So let's say, okay, so let's get basic economics. Middle line. Middle line is where the expenditures happen. We all know that unless there is expenditure that's happening, the economics will not grow and middle line will not happen. Where will you have your expenditures from when there is no top line? Top line meaning revenue. The revenue generation in Bharatanatyam happens through teaching. So, how is this sustainable if you do not want to teach? How is performance as such sustainable? And I have performed in venues outside of Chennai where I have been paid. Although it is not a very significant amount, it is definitely a start. In Chennai, the sabas do pay. I'm not coming to the pay and perform part, I'm not touching upon that. But here, you do get paid, but how much of your performance aspect does it cover when you have the expenditures of costume, jewelry, and accompanying artists? We have a long way to go before we even start thinking of profits, which is the bottom line, just from merely performing. So the opportunities is there is an eclectic mix of cultures. I've been witness to different dance programs and ensemble works growing up in school and in sabas. Sans the divide of caste and creed, there are issues. I'm not dismissing that, but Chennai as a metro city does not have certain problems that are present in some tier 2 cities. In some tier 2 cities, there is still an inherent mind block with some communities. They don't even come forward to learn the art. So these problems do not exist in Chennai since it's a metro city. We've come a little far away from that, and that is good. Ease of access to technology, you have tons of technical engineers, studios to record your work, light design technicians, as opposed to other cities or other tier 2 cities where this is hard to come by. And interaction with artists, so number of organizations organizing workshops, lecture demonstrations, etc. If your work sells in Chennai, it will definitely be appreciated in any part of the world. You have the demographics of the audience is very varied here. Irrespective of what kind of work you want to present, you will definitely find an audience and you will be able to get feedback, which is definitely an advantage. Coming to the threats. So all my threat points are basically interconnected. I definitely feel that the OTT platforms, Netflix, Amazon, Hotstar, they are all definitely a threat. I'm not diminishing the importance of art, of the art form, or putting Bharatanatyam and a movie or a sitcom on the same scale, no. But we are all fighting for that 2-3 hour window. Do I want to take the effort to take my vehicle out, wait through the traffic and watch a performance, or sit in the comfort of my house and watch something on TV? It's basically a Bharatanatyam program versus a jailer or a jawan. So this is something to definitely ponder about. And the digital culture. So this has loomed large over our heads, especially since COVID. And everybody wants ease of access to the same program being available to watch on a digital platform. Leaving aside the fact that we multitask when we watch, the experience of soaking in the art is different when we watch it on a computer. The twist with the artist is definitely not there in digital form. Leaving aside all of that, this is definitely a pertinent question. Recently, K. M. Krishna had taken to his Instagram handle to talk about this. And declining audience and patronage. So, this is true especially for solo Bharatanatyam work. If it's an ensemble, at least it is slightly different. And I mentioned that in my first slide that mommies and mamas are definitely an advantage. So they have held, the sabas, the fort as the audience for many decades. But what next? How do we take this to newer audiences? I'm a stickler to tradition, and I definitely believe that the art form should not be diluted. But how do we bring in newer audiences? My own friends say, I did come, I did enjoy, but will they come again? They come for me, but will they go watch another dancer's performance? It's a big question mark. So declaring patronage is, especially for solo performances, is something that we all have to think about. Coming to the end of my presentation, I leave you all with two questions. If there is no revenue, the industry is not sustainable. Revenue generation through performing is one question, and sustainability in terms of having people come and watch us, building an audience. I come to the end of my presentation. Thank you all for listening to me. Thank you all for this platform.
Our next speaker is Mahati Kannan, the disciple and grandniece of Dr. Padma Subramaniam. She started her formal training in dance at the age of 5 and had her elevator when she was 8. She is presently part of the teaching faculty at the Yodaya, or Guru's Institute. Mahati has been accompanied Dr. Padma Subramaniam in her performances in many parts of India and abroad, and has also given many solo recitals in prestigious sabhas in Chennai. She has completed her bachelor's degree in English literature at the Ethraj College and master's degree in history of art at the National Museum Institute in New Delhi. She has also completed BFA Bharatanatyam and MFA Bharatanatyam in dance education mode from the Shastra University, Tanjore. Very warm welcome to Mahati.
So, good evening, everyone. At the outset, I must say to everyone, thank you so much, Akilata and Team Ala, for giving me this opportunity and for giving me this opportunity to share space with such other wonderful dancers and artists. The topic that I'm going to talk on is probably something that has been bothering me for a while. This is not in terms of a wide scope of analysis like everyone else has spoken about so far. This is something very almost niche-like, but it's something that's been bothering me, something very fundamental. I'd like to speak about art awareness or a lack thereof among students of dance and especially their parents. I'll be covering some points from what I have experienced and I continue to experience as a teacher of dance, especially teaching kids between the ages of say 7 and 15, 16. That period when they're most impressionable, they actually take in a lot more. But the challenges that I have been facing, and I've also seen my mother and my guru also facing for that matter. So just a few points on those lines. This is actually a huge topic. There are so many things that I could discuss, but I'm going to restrict myself to very few points for which I can give you examples from my own experience. So please bear with me if I miss out on any crucial points. I would like to thank 4 of my very dear friends, Manaswini, Rama Venkataraman, Devakaranta Krishnan, MS Anantashri, for giving me their inputs as well, because I spoke to them all and to get their views, because they've also been teaching and they're my peers, so I want to get their inputs as well. And they've all proven very, very valuable, so thank you all so much. So I'm going to start off with the parents, starting with some challenges. First, parents' basic understanding of the seriousness of dance as an art. This is the first hint of this is when they come for admissions. I'm going to give you 2 examples of not even when they came in person. One is an email, one is a phone call. This is from, say, a few months ago. So most recent example. We received an email earlier this year. I'd like to admit my daughter into a dance school.
we are based in Dubai, and she will be in Chennai until August for her vacation. When the classes start in June, the child will be in Chennai till August. So we asked them, are you actually based in Chennai? Do you have any basis? No, we don't have any basis there, but she'll be there for vacation. Why don't you go ahead and take class? So we had to politely decline. And another person, this person was a resident of Chennai, but I think he had moved to somewhere abroad on a short-term basis. But this is a call that we get. My daughter has come to Chennai. She has flown down by British Airways. She's free for this week and she'll be able to attend your dance classes. Again, we had to politely decline that honor of having his daughter in our dance class. I feel some of these parents do not understand the time, money, effort that they need to invest and that we are also investing in their child's art education if they would like him or her to take it up seriously. The next issue is parents not trusting the experience, abilities or judgment of the teacher and trying to micromanage the child's art education. This can also sometimes include overindulgence of the child and expecting the teacher also to do the same. Two instances. This happened with two children who actually had some sort of an undiagnosed medical condition which was hindering their progress in dance, which we had to take to their parents because we did not really know what the issue was. We had to take it to the parents. One child, she seemed to have some kind of a back issue, so she would always stand like this, with a slight slope. She couldn't stand straight, which was being a problem because every time she tried to stand straight, every time she tried to straighten her back, she would have visible discomfort. So we took it to her parent, to her mother, and told her, say, I think she's having an issue, why don't you go get it checked with the doctor? That way she would probably be able to dance better. The exact response of the mother was, I don't talk about my child's physical appearance. She got up, left, and never came back. So even when we want to say something for the good of the child, just so the child can progress better in the dance class that her mother or father has put her in, they don't want to take it. Another child, slightly overweight for her age, so she's having breathing issues while dancing. She would gasp even if she had to bend down and get up twice. Do an exercise, she would gasp for breath. We took it to the parent again. The parent was in complete denial for 3 years. We tried to tell her over and over again. She just would not listen. So it was the same case again. And then comes the complaining that the teacher scolds the child too much. 3 months ago, I had a parent come up to me and tell me, my daughter doesn't want to go to your friends, your colleagues' class because she says she scores too much. I know my friend very well. She is the most patient. They say she has the patience of Bruna Devi of the earth. She has the patience. She really has that kind of patience because she works with a lot of special children and other children as well. She's very good with them. I've never seen her get angry at all. So I investigated. It turns out this child was consistently coming late for class, and my friend had just told her, you can't do that. You have to come on time for class. You can't keep coming late. Only other thing she had done in that particular class was made the child sit in Aramandi. And immediately the child had gone and told her parents, I just need to sit in Aramandi. I don't want to go back to class. So the father immediately came to me with that as a complaint. And then another child, she again had the same issue. She was not progressing well. So we had just told her, look, you have to practice more. Just a little bit more practice, you'll be able to dance well. You're just lagging behind a little bit. She stopped coming for class for a while. So we contacted her, the parent, and asked her, is there any issue, any emergency, anything which is why she's not able to come? And the mother slowly tells, actually she was born and brought up in the US. She's a little sensitive. Apparently somebody in class, the teacher told her that she had to practice more, so that was very demoralizing for her.
We actually did not know how to react to it, but of course we just said no issues. Whenever she's interested, doors are always open, you can come back to class. So it begs the question, sensitizing, keeping children sensitive to certain things is fine, but how much sensitivity is oversensitivity? How much can the parents actually indulge the child? When a mistake is made or when progress is slow because there is not enough practice, it is the duty of a teacher, of all of us as teachers, to make sure we correct the child and the child progresses, because each parent who leaves their child in our doorstep in the dance class trusts us that we will teach the art in a proper way to the child and the child will perform well. It's the same case with teachers worldwide in any field of teaching, in any subject. When we try to do our best, but the parents themselves act as a kind of obstacle to it, how much can we also do to help the child? And then this particular issue, I thought I was the only one facing it, but by talking to my friends, I found it was not very uncommon. Not acknowledging younger teachers enough simply because they are younger. Younger teachers are taken more lightly. So, if I were to send information or a message on any of the parent WhatsApp groups, there is more chances that they would respond and acknowledge the same message if my mother sent it rather than me. So, does age really matter as a point of judgment of how good the teacher is? You have trusted your child and left her or him in a dance class where there are trained teachers. You have done your research before all the dance class that you lead your child in. And once you left your child in that dance class, you trust your child will get good dance education. Right? Beyond that, how is it right that you judge the teacher based on their age and say, I will acknowledge it if I take it seriously if you are slightly older or you even appear slightly older, but not so seriously or take it lightly if you look even appear younger, because you're younger and we take it that you don't have as much experience. This was actually that point was actually quite surprising. I was surprised at how common that was. And then the ambitious parents, putting their children in way too many classes. The children get tired. By the time they come to dance class, they are exhausted, they are unable to focus because they're focusing on so many different things that when they come here and we say, sit more and unwindly, smile, look up, chin up, they just say, I can't do this. My brain is mentally they're so tired that it reflects physically as well. But these children, I feel, we can only give them their sympathies because a lot of these children, they are there because their parents want them to be. They're probably too young to even know if that is what they want to be doing at that point of time. So often, in those cases, if I talking to the children and asking them, are you really interested in dance? This is what you want to do. If the children seem hesitant, then you of course approach the parents and talk to them and say, listen, I think your child wants to do something else. Maybe you can take him away now, and bring them back later if they get interested in dance one more time. This, I'm not sure how common this is, but we have faced this quite a few times. Bringing their child to admit them in a dance class just for the sake of their admit. Last year we had a parent come in and say, all my colleagues have children, they're all going for dance class, all of them have done the admit, they've been pressuring me, so I want my daughter to do the admit. This was new because usually the peer pressure is among the students and not the parents. This time it was a parent saying, my colleagues have done admissions for their children, so why not I do for mine? That we did explain this with the parent, we did explain to them that was not really the right approach. Then there is the other extreme where instead of micromanagement, there is not really much involvement at all in the child's education. They treat dance class like a daycare or a crash. They come drop the child, we take care of the child, they pick up the child after class. According to them, that's how it happens. believe it or not, we rarely, but we have had instances where parents have forgotten to pick up their children after class. So we have to call them up and say, your child is waiting, the class got over half an hour ago, we've been waiting for you, please come and pick the child up. And then they say, oh yeah, I thought my husband was going to pick her up. I'm so sorry, I forgot, let me come and pick her up. And they don't understand that one thing, we are responsible for the safety of the child. But especially when all the other children have left, we cannot leave that child alone. If she's old enough, they can take care of themselves, it's a different matter. Even then, we are responsible for the children once they left India. It's the same as schools. In schools, you won't expect a child to just be left alone. You actually make sure the child is safe and pick them up. Teachers will be concerned. It's the same thing here, and some parents just don't seem to understand that easily. Then there's not willing to make time to attend dance class events, performances. You have to beg them, invite them with, say, no, you better power and say, please come for performances, please allow your child to watch them. That's all they get. It's 50% at least of learning is watching, observing. So nowadays when we have observation classes for the kids, we make them sit and watch the rehearsals happening. Even if it's orchestra rehearsal, recordings, seniors dancing, if the younger batch happens to be there for previous class, we say sit and watch them. Next class, we get a message from the parents. Ma'am, is it observation class today or do the kids have their class? Should we bring them to class today? So we stop informing them if it's observation class. Or else they just don't bring the kids to class. They say it's only observation, they are not dancing. So this again is another issue that I have seen happening a lot. As for the students themselves, I've covered a few things, but nowadays I've seen that the children who come to class, a lot of them already have a lot of notions, certain preconceived ideas about how to be in dance class, what dance class is, how the atmosphere is supposed to be. So when they come and find out that even here we have a certain discipline that needs to be followed, they're quite shocked. It's literally culture shock for them within the city, within their own spheres itself. They don't realize that even here, it's not just fun and games and all that. You are having a different kind of education here. This is a regular class, this is like school. Except you're not doing physics, chemistry and math and all that. You're learning an art form. This is as serious as the other subjects. There was one child. She consistently did not do her revision for the previous class, whatever she learned. So one day I asked her, you've not been revising, why is there a problem? She literally, I am not kidding, she just said, Dad, I know. I said, do you know? You don't have a reason as to why you didn't practice, why you guys. I know, I just didn't. Then I asked her, what do you do in school? What happens when you don't do your homework? Nothing. I said, doesn't your teacher scold you? Doesn't your teacher tell you to do your homework? Doesn't she, pull you up? She said, no, nothing happens. And then she adds on herself, I'm not used to getting scolded. This child was 7 years old. She had just come into class. This was about 1 month after joining dance class. So, how much it really took me back, it took me by surprise. I realized these children, as young as they are incredibly smart. But that smartness and intelligence is channelized in very wrong ways. So I feel like if at all these children can be channelized in the right way, they've got amazing potential in any field they take up. They're actually highly creative children, but they just need to be channelized in the right way. One thing that I feel about this whole scenario is the attitude of the parents towards art may often influence the way the children view the art, especially when they are starting out. If the parents are serious enough about the art, or at least they respect the art enough, I think they are capable of passing on that kind of respect, that kind of admiration for the art to their children. that will definitely change the way or influence or shape the way the children view the art. So their attitude itself when entering the dance class will be vastly different. And that would definitely help in the progress of the child in dance class. Some small things that we've been doing in dance class, just small steps that we've been taking to kind of inculcate that awareness, inculcate that admiration, appreciation for art amongst both the students, of course, as well as the parents. Just a few. The second the parents step into dance class, first thing we tell them, we sit them down and we explain to them, listen, your child is here to learn a very serious art form. It's going to be a beautiful art form, no doubt. We'll have fun, but this is as serious as school. This art form, learning this comes with this. This is all that it comes with. There is a certain discipline that you have to follow here. Just like school, those children, those students will have teachers, they have seniors, and they have to learn to respect them, they have to learn to go along with the other students. They cannot say, I'm going to stand out by myself and do whatever I want just because it's not school, it's only a dance class. This is a dance class. This is after all a center of education, whatever it is. So you have to make sure your child understands that. So the first training there is for the parents. Because whatever it is, the students might come here for a work, for an hour or two for class. But most of the time they will be spending either in school or at home. So when they're at home, at least, we try to make sure the parents teach them something about respecting the art form before they come to class. For the longest time that I can remember, we've been having these Vedic heritage and budget classes in our art class. It comes with stories, it comes with some value education, it comes with a lot of singing, learning shlokas, learning stories, itihasas, puranas, small stories about certain festivals that are coming up, bhajans, all that is there. It used to be only for the students, but when we realized the parents needed the education more, we asked the parents to start also coming for these classes. And it was just sort of experimental at first. We didn't know how it was going to turn out. We didn't know how many parents were going to turn up. But those who did turn up did come back and say, we are able to monitor our children's progress a lot better now because we ourselves know what is happening. We ourselves know what goes behind our education. We know what goes behind learning dance. It's not just dance alone. There's so many allied subjects that you have to know at least the basics of. And being able to see that. We have a mix of parents, of course. I'm sure a lot of you will agree. There's a mix of parents. There are those who come with a solid awareness about what art is, what dance is. They have been exposed to certain art forms. They've been exposed to certain things connected to dance. And then there are those who know absolutely nothing about it. But they come with a very open mind. Seeing we are giving you our child, please take care of him or her, and we trust that you can give them that education, whatever it may be, whatever that it entails. And I think those kind of parents and those kind of students are such boons. And I feel Chennai as a city, as far as I've seen, is so conducive for that kind of environment, for creating that kind of environment. You turn this way, you have Kapalishwara. You turn that way, you have 10,000 different sabas. You stone's throw away, you have some kind of performance, as so many of them mentioned, some performance happening, some kind of music happening, some kind of dance happening. All I feel as teachers need to do for those who are not aware is suggest. Suggest and say, see, if you know well and good. If you do not know, we will give you recommendations, we will tell you what's happening. It's up to you, we can give you options. It's up to you to go watch. But we can only, we can only take the horse to the water, we cannot make it drink the water. So in a while, this is something my grandmother used to say, I can only peel the banana, I can maybe cut it up or mash it and put it into your mouth and even shove it down your throat. That's the maximum I can do. You have to swallow the banana, I cannot swallow it.
We can do the maximum that we can as teachers. But finally, from the other side, the parents and the students have to be open to receiving what we give them. And I think there is a lot of scope for it, which is if we also kind of take them in for different activities, it really does work out. So recently, we had a little gathering for Krishna Jayanti. We called in all the students, we called in all the parents. We kept activities and little activities for the kids. We kept some for the parents as well. And finally, we just put on some Garba music and just made them all dance to it. That's it. They didn't know any other, they did not have to have any knowledge of music or dance. But to simply give them the experience of dancing and say, see, this is it. Do you feel happy dancing? That is the joy that we want to give your child through this art form. Right? That is the joy that your child will feel. But for that, your child will have to understand that they also have to put in the effort. And we got a lot of positive responses from that. So it was very heartwarming to see, because this, like I had mentioned at the beginning, was a huge concern for me. I was very worried. Where is this current generation of young dancers, upcoming dancers who are just starting out? Where is it going? What will this kind of how will they turn out in the field with this kind of an attitude for dance? I was very scared. But with whatever little efforts that we were able to put forth, they were so receptive to it. So I think that when they get to understand, when they put the effort to understand the value of the tradition, the value of what they are learning, the value of, and they put in trust in the process, they put in trust in the teacher, the guru who's teaching, I think that will take them a long way. They might, even if they come expecting immediate results, if they do expect immediate results, then it may not work out. But we can make them understand that once you trust us, then we will not go down on that trust. It is our responsibility as not just dancers and teachers, but as custodians of this art, to make sure your children take it forward for the art's sake. Because we want this art to come out, we want this art to survive. And I was really happy to see the kind of results that whatever we tried, small things we tried, brought out. And I just wanted to share that with all of you. I didn't want to, I'm sorry if it seemed like I was complaining a lot, but they were just concerns in my mind. But I'm happy we did find small solutions to it. And I hope all of you had some little bit to take away from it as well. Once again, thank you so much, Atilaka and Ala, for being this platform. And for all of you who are patiently listening to me. Thank you so much.
Our next speaker is Manaswini. Manaswini Ramachandran has been brought up in an artistic milieu that has honed her creative skills. She is a daughter and disciple of Devi Ramachandran of the Velat Bani. An empowered artist of Dicia, Manaswini has performed in the USA, France, Germany, Singapore, Australia, America. Manaswini toured USA in 2018, leading a 12-member troupe with Kala Sadhanalaya's Jagat Bhavanagar. She's also undergone training in music under Vidushi Suguna Purushottaman and Dr. Gayatri K. Prasanna and under Shiji Krishna as well. After completing a BTech degree in biotechnology from Anna University, she went on to do a master's in fine arts in Bharatanatyam from the Shastra University in Tanjore, and her thesis was guided by Dr. Padma Subramanian. With a wide variety of interests spanning domains of science, archaeology, philosophy, culture, Manaswini furthered her scientific and artistic interests with a master's degree in conservation at the National Museum Institute in New Delhi. Art conservation also finds a place in the expression of her artistry. She teaches Bharatanatyam to underprivileged children across schools in Chennai through her organization, Guided Foundation. Very warm welcome to Manas.
Thank you so much, Atilaka, for organizing this. When we came to Chennai, of course, our minds naturally gravitate towards Sabha canteens and the December Pulluga, because we get to cherish these things only once in a year. Right? It's pretty rare to find anything that, I mean, this weather outside is like such a rarity. And Chennai is a very beautiful blend of the old and new, ancient aesthetic with modern thought, which is something that I find very, very beautiful because I've lived in Bangalore now, lived in Delhi, lived in Bombay for a while. So, with that, of course, Bharatanatyam is synonymous with Chennai. And we will start, so I'm doing a proper SWOT analysis. The first draft that I sent to my father, he said this is too technical, put some soul into it, because you're talking like a scientist, so I said, okay, fine, let me just change it up a bit. So, also, this is my views, so if I am wrong, I would like the seniors here and my peers to please correct me. I'll start with the strengths of our field. As much as Mahati spoke about students, I feel like there is tremendous talent that is being cultivated. Of course, there was always great talent because our mothers, our teachers, our gurus have given us this beautiful knowledge, but they've also built us a beautiful ecosystem. So we just have to carry this ecosystem forward. And there's also an added responsibility because there's a lot of viewership. So the students dancing has gone up many notches with the aim to emulate the masters of yesterday, our teachers and veterans. The second strength I would say is our ecosystem. I think Chennai spoke about it. I'd like to speak about 5 aspects. One is our Sabha systems. Within a 2-kilometer radius, there are about 12 Sabhas around this place, right? Which is unbelievable. Everybody's spoken about it. Second is organizations that commission work, like the Natya Spirit of Marble. They commission very original ideas, and there are a lot of independent artists who are coming forward to present, which comes to alternate venues like this stage, Meerut, Sahaja creative spaces, right? Arm on the terrace. So that's another important ecosystem that we're building. And then there is an online ecosystem. I still remember COVID, but Arab had so many online, programs, and those Samarkand that did a lot of online, fundraising and all that. And fifth is there a strong base for other stakeholders, which are musicians, composers, costume designers, sari shops. You don't get the same saris in Bangalore. So, makeup artists, people who sit saris, right? So, we have a brilliant ecosystem here. And then, because of this ecosystem, it is also a learning hub. We have the best of the best, right? Be it institutions, be it gurus, be it resources for study, you name it and we have it. And because of the fact that it is important to study it from a art historical perspective, due to the provenance of this art form, all places that have significance are easily accessible through road and rail from Chennai. So if you want to go to Aurangabad and see the Gajasambhal movie, you can take a train and go, right? Which is so easy. You want to go to the Periyakodi, take a train and go there. That's it. It's as simple as that. And the fourth strength is opportunity for conversation. Our art, of course, has been constantly engaging with us, right? This is my first time that I'm doing something with our art. And I think this conversation happening today itself is a strength. Now I'm going to the weakness of this field, but I'm just not going to talk about the weaknesses. I want to see if we can think about a few questions, answer them maybe. So, of course, everybody's spoken about this. There's a limited commercial viability, and it takes us easily about half a lakh to put up a show with a live orchestra. But we hardly get money. Earlier, I was told that during the Sabha system, what would happen is the Sabha would take artists, but there would also be this one cookie box that went around for the audience to put something in. So even if it isn't someone who is big, whose shows aren't ticketed, the audience can contribute something towards the show, which is something that is very beautiful. Maybe we should devise something like that. Transparency in the field. I don't want to start any problems with this, but I think we need a domain or maybe a transparent system that we can refer to be able to get opportunities. Who Who do I email? How do we apply? Because when I apply for conservation fellowships, I know exactly what I need to send. I need to send a CV, I need a letter of recommendation. It's not given anywhere, right? So which is very, very difficult for us to navigate as students and as teachers. Then drawing an audience. Everybody's spoken about it. The audience for theatre, Dani, have you here? Audience for theatre, big. Audience for music, no, Sanjay Subramaniam concerts are like Anirudh's concerts, right? Everybody say, hey, did you go to Sanjay last week? So that's how it is, right? But the audience for dance is dancers. Only we are going for programs. We are going for, we have to give money for conferences. We are going for programs. We are only sitting. For me, Mahati's audience, I'm the audience. That's how it is. So I find this very surprising because it's such a versatile art form. So how do we tackle this is a question that I've always had. I still remember talking to my professor of chemistry in bachelor's, and he told me that he doesn't attend dance programs because it's very cerebral. Whereas in music, you can close your eyes and listen. You listen only with your ears. That's what he said. It's not that music is not technical, okay? There's a lot more manodharma music than in dance. But it just requires one less sense organ. That's all. That's it. Because you have to open your eyes and open your ears, it becomes difficult. And one more thing, if you're not seen in a dance program, I think we all say, hey, Bhavya. So, but music, everybody listens like this, and it gives that, it relaxes you, which is also true for dance. But then you're like, well, the purpose of going there is to see, but I'm closing my eyes and see, so why go there? That's something that comes right. So, so this needs to be, also looking at a wider audience, there should be a lot more accessibility because you need initiation into a dance form, right? Because when you do this, you know it's a flower, but when you do this, you know what's come because we say come like this. We don't say come go. We don't say that, right? So you need initiation, and this initiation comes with accessibility, which is also another problem. So I have taught the students of Guru Kuppam. We continue to teach, Kadar Foundation continues to teach at Balamandir, and their idea of art is very different, right? And just organizing one Buddha in a locality is not going to sensitize them. We need to start at the grassroots level and teach them everything. They need to become dancers, but with just the aim of understanding and trying to see art. The art of watching art needs to be taught. So with this, of course, I think Janani is not here, but she was talking about how she felt like an outsider in Chennai. And actually speaking this year, last year I went to an NKS Cinematica conference, and it humbled me a lot because there were the artists from everywhere, right? And I was also like, Nanu dancer, a bunch of us, 4-5 of us from Chennai were like, Nina, what is happening here? Like, everybody is from different parts of the country. But with the influx of dancer, opportunities are given also equally, which is great for outstation artists. I don't know if this is a problem for Chennai, but I've been living in Bangalore for 3 years and I've not gotten a single opportunity to perform there. So, it's kind of like, does it go both ways? And how do we sort of like balance this out? Right? So that's a question that I've always had. And for more successful peers of mine, it might be slightly different, but this is just from my perspective, this point of view. Yeah. So art is not encouraged from the perspective of art, but it is viewed from a point of view of popularity and crowding. So only a bunch of dancers are given shows and opportunities in select sagas who encourage them year after year. I feel like art, this talks about money and preference. I feel like it's not just personal preference, it also has to do with the stakeholders, right? We as an audience should also be open to looking at art differently, and the sabha should also be open to showcasing different art forms, different bodies, right? So it is subjective and being based on perception of the observers, the sabhas or the four people who only put up shows for a crowd, they shouldn't be standing in judgment over artists based on specific criteria. I think it can be over. Another thing is IP, right? Intellectual property, very technical. I mean, if you put up something online, I'm sure all of you have issues with this. There are many people who won't take it, but that's okay. It's freedom of you can take that, but as long as you're able to credit the artist that does it. But there are deeper questions, right? Like for instance, ethics in dance. I did an entire seminar on ethics in conservation. We had ethics in engineering. Engineering ethics we had. Okay? That is how it is. But do we have ethics as dancers? So many problems we face today is because of the fact that we don't have ethics in dance. Music, dance, any of the performing arts. We may be a small community, but we should be guided with ethics. Like, for instance, I think a lot, develop a framework for a beat. Some artist just picks it up, does the same thing. So, I mean, of course, Facebook itself was founded like that only. But, shouldn't there be a certain ethical guideline? And who sets the ethics? Usually, the American Institute of Conservation sets the ethics for America. The Indian Heritage Management Institute sets the ethics for conservation in India. So, what academy should set the ethics for Bharatanatyam or any sort of art form in India is a question that I have. Maybe we should pursue the national academies to, without delving too deep into technique, we should delve into how this ethic has to come out, which is more value-based. Okay. And there is a lack of camaraderie, I feel, because being individualistic in its expression and appeal, it leads to a preponderance of promoting the self with lesser accommodation to contemporaries who are in the same field, right? So we're always in a competition. I don't think it was like this even for our gurus, right? It's more so for us because opportunities are few. We need to get those three opportunities. And I found this grappling this last year was very, very difficult to perform. I felt like only the people who were older than me reached out to me. And I feel are we really a community? I mean, what binds us together except that we want programs, right? So that's a question that I have that we should all think about. And then I come on to the opportunities. First is, I feel like introduction of other audiovisual elements that integrate technology that's come up very well in the West. It hasn't come to India as much. Also, the SWOT thing, we always think about, how is this performance going to be? You're not thinking about tech, about our backdrop, or all that. We don't do that quite more often than not because we're running the entire show. So I guess also a building of co-artists and stage personnel is very important because there's one or two people who handle lights in Chennai, which is very tough. 3 people maybe, right? You know the names. So then the next is crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is something we've never looked into. So I think Allah can help us with some, because sponsors are not really right here. So crowdfunding is brilliant. We can look into that aspect as well. Upgradation of the theatre. We can't have the Bolshoi Ballet here in Chennai. Definitely not, because we don't have such a great theatre. We can have it now in Mumbai, I think, but I'm hoping we have it in Chennai soon. I'm sure it will come up very soon, but that's an opportunity. Some of you can, sort of, if you have the land, set up a theatre. I'll help you out with the logistics. And there is also a need and a big opening for a youth association of Bharatanatyam dancers, like the Youth Association for Carnatic Musicians, right? We need to have that in Chennai that brings everybody together in the field. So we can have these conversations more often, We have this only because if Allah wasn't there, this wouldn't have happened, right? So I think that's important because none of us know the field from our perspective. We always go to our gurus, our parents, to know what is happening in the field. And you were talking about OTT killing, right? My point is, can we use OTT can that be an opportunity to us to produce dance in mass media in the right way without misinterpretation, right? Because for the longest time, my husband thought that Bharatanatyam was Rava. Okay, that's all. From Chandramukhi, this is what he thought. So, I mean, can we do this in a different way? That's my question. And I end with the threats, of course. I don't want to end in a bad note, but I mean, that's how this goes, right? So, yeah, so the threats is first the realization of Bharatanatyam. We've already spoken about it, many of you have spoken about it. It's made the attention span lesser. And I've also noticed that if you put one Pratas Jati, 30k to 50k views, right? If you again you put that, you pour your heart out and you do one emotional piece, hardly 5,000k views come on that. 5,000 views come on that. 5k views come. So 30k, 50k and 5k and so what do you want to do? You only put up that, right? So what happens is the audience thinks, oh, this is only Bharatanatyam. So they can never, like you said, those are reels but when they come to a program, they see, oh, it's slow here, then it becomes fast. When it's slow, they get bored. So they don't understand what Bharatanatyam is through 90-second videos or 60-second videos. So that's a problem. So what I was thinking was there's something called Inktober. Have you all heard of it? Where they will ink one thing in October, they will expect it. They will be expecting, oh, this person is going to ink this on this day. So can we do that as a community to sensitize people towards the emotions that build the art? Something like that has to be done. Again, when you're putting jatis, you're only feeding them junk food. Right? I mean, jatis are not junk. Okay, don't misquote me. Okay. Don't correct me. Actually, said jatis are identified. Yeah, the edit. Okay, and also what people look for is like geometry, right? So it is good to have a standard. It is very good to have a standard, but it is bad to have standardization. So dance can be appreciated at a particular caliber depending on the dance, but to have that expectation of the same geometry and emotion from all dancers will only kill the dance form once and for all. And the audience is not necessarily growing. See, the Rasikas are not like, what is the easiest way? Students of dancers, families of dancers, friends of students' parents, families, friends. This is what happens, right? So what I was thinking was, see, I counted the number of dance schools in Chennai now. In Google, there are 196 dance schools. Okay. But 30 years ago, wasn't there around 60 dance schools? Now, tell me how the demographic, the population of Chennai has gone exceptionally, but there's not even a linear growth in the number of dance schools. I'm not saying all of us should set up dance schools. I'm just saying that there's nobody to eat the cake of sorts. So I think we need to build the audience in a very different way. And of course, misinterpretation of Bharatanatyam in mass media, which is happening till date. We don't have Manjikote Valiban anymore. Even if we have great dramas, periodic dramas, they don't take dancers for roles of dancers. So I think that's why we need to change. And yes, I guess that comes to the end of my SWOT analysis. I thank you all for being so patient through this. And sorry if I'm wrong, and if you want to correct me, please give me suggestions. Yes, thank you.
Natasha Pandit is born in Pune, brought up in Ahmednagar, and always loved art and nature since her childhood. Her journey in dance began because of her love towards music and dance. Watching her mother sing and dance, Natasha's interest in dance led her to choose art as a profession, and she began learning Bharatanatyam at the age of 12 at IMS Videocon Academy of Fine Performing Arts under Kalyani Pradhan. Under guidance from Mother Varsha Pandit, she gave her first group performance on the Ramayana in 2006 at the Rashtrapati Bhavan for Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Later she continued to learn under Madhuri Saraf and completed her Vishadad in Bharatanatyam. To gain more depth in the art form. She joined the Kalakshatra Foundation, received a diploma in Bharatanatyam in 2017. She also completed a master's degree in Bharatanatyam from Madras University in 2020. Currently, she trains at the Samudana Foundation under Shri Krishna and has been teaching and performing with the Sampaya Laboratory. As an artist, she believes in the spirit of sharing the art selflessly and follows on by holding on to the values leading to the realization of the oneness of life through art. Very warm welcome to Rasha.
Namaskar. I would like to thank Allah for the wonderful opportunity for all of us, and special thanks to my teacher, myself, my friends, and always there to guide me and help me with every stage of my life. I would like to start with opportunities. As we have seen, Chennai has been so much privileged with all the art forms and happenings around. We get to know through so many media things. To be well informed about the happenings by knowing the city well with its arts and its culture, and to can create our own platform with it, and with the individual capability, ideas, and get engaged with social media. Also, like as we can create a page where if the people who are not able to reach, we can create a page as everyone can just upload it in that, and then access we have through one place. Mainly I'll be focusing on the weaknesses and the that's what we face. So, increase in the number of artists, and we have less demands. Also, the involvement of the audience, as we all have spoken about it. Less number of audience with the present scenario with performances in Chennai as far as the audience are concerned. Again, it's only the friends, the family of the artist who attends. And what is the reason behind this? Is it the traveling, the expenses which they are facing through, or is it just the interest, not having interest about it, or is it the time management or any pure engagement about it? So, for the general audience or the public, lack of understanding at the art form and its significant as well as the music and lyrics, its nuances. So the language is familiar, and who has a language, familiar language and the native language, people are able to understand easily. But then the audience make connection, but if they don't connect with the song, or what's being presented on stage, the quality, the quickness, immediately the audience loses. I was saying that the interest audience loses immediately, and as either the folks and spectrum of their understanding not to do things, but what we as Manu said, it's being only the trends and has been entertained. Lack of awareness, understanding the appreciation as a part of the dance community. Then we live in the era of multi-potentials. Like as we see, the children are going through a lot of extracurricular activities, and so to handle as Mahati said, we always as a teacher trying to pursue a lot of things simultaneously and differently, which leads to the tiredness or boredom of the kids, and which leads also to the blockage of minds with too many things in their plates to take to perform or to take an action, deep. Also, which can also lead to the physical stress, physical mental stress. So,
which I'll follow the threads. So I'm going a little quick. So, competitive mentality. Already from the artist's background who are there, get to explore better in the field. Artists with non-artistic background has a lot of struggle, hassles to come across. But physical, mental pressure is also there while trying to push themselves to the best and recognize the mental pressure of being acknowledged, where we again come from the financial instability, who are able to take it forward, are able to do it, but the people who are not financially stable are not able to take it forward, keep struggling again and again. And taking all of this is also going to the taking it granted, as a lot of people take advantage of situations of financial instability, craving of an artist to shine, not able to afford that to pay or perform. Going back to the financial instability here. Would like to go to the strengths. As Chennai is the hub, we have been metropolitan city and the state where it all began. It helped both in going back to our roots and bringing it a new idea from different artists around the nation and globe. Artists expanding their horizon and gain knowledge and experience by sharing and communicating with other artists as we are doing today, which is really a good strength we can build upon. And as we all know, the season, the Margary season, where what can be better than that? As to experience all of this at a stretch where artists around India and around the globe come to Chennai for the season and share, learn, communicate, understand, and same time cherish it. Art travelers when we see the art practitioners sticking to the roots, I guess that what makes Chennai special is cherishing and holding on to the roots, which present day commercializing of almost everything is every other city in Chennai place where thought of people are trying to modern and innovative and trying to have different ideas for the appeal of audience. They still stick to the same road, which is the good strength and cherish the traditional existence of the art form. To all of this, there's one I felt what I can take it and I can share it out. As Bharatanatyam is a very beautiful language, spiritually, physically, and as a emotionally and mental outreach. Through the vocabulary of it, one can communicate and express, and only when the communication is strong can really art cherish and flourish. And the artist and performer we see have their own take their own duty and connect to the as a performer in our field, the duty and the connect and the resonance with the audience make them understand and communicate through the art form, body language and the expressions, which makes the audience feel overwhelmed and happy towards seeing in the art form. An artist, we should help to break down the barriers and help the audience in understanding, performing, and different nuances of the music, language, lyrics without feeling being intimidated. In the only possible way when the artist can understand and portray the perfect balance between audience, chose to artists to choose
or me and want to perform or present or the presentation in present scenario and in my personal opinion, Chennai is the best place we can actually bring out all of this and implement the balance between the arts and the field. So yeah, thank you for
Her guru being Radha Parasati. She's also won many, many awards for Namas and Kirtanams, bhajans along with her team. A very, very warm welcome to you, Linda.
Namaskaram, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Good evening to one and all. I'm excited to be a part of this open discussion on Bharatanatyam and Chennai. I would like to thank Allah to have invited me to present my thoughts. I will also be presenting a SWOT analysis. So I will start with the strengths. Chennai hosts a knowledgeable Rasika community. One of the most important strengths of Chennai is the knowledgeable Rasikas present here. The greatest source of motivation for every dancer here comes from the audience. So, what could be more better than a set of audience who supports us not for the glamorous part but for the actual content and quality of dance. So, I think that is present here in Chennai, which is a very big strength. The next one. Availability of numerous sabhas, like all that has been mentioned. There are numerous sabhas and other organizations available in Chennai with the sole aim of providing young dancers with platforms to perform. Yeah. I think Avantika and Manasaka mentioned this as well. A supportive ecosystem. Most importantly, Chennai boasts a brilliant ecosystem which supports dance. For a dancer to be able to perform, not only does he or she require a stage or a sabha, Chennai also has a lot of salon shops, tailors, designers, costume designers, jewelry vendors, there are makeup artists, audio and lighting technicians, and of course, most importantly, brilliant orchestra members. So all these factors play a major role for a program of dancer, and all of these are available in plenty and in brilliant quality in Chennai. Quality of the dancers continuously improving thanks to many competitions. I personally feel that competitions play a major role in shaping a young dancer like me. In fact, from my young age, I have participated in multiple competitions, be it in school or other organizations. And every time we set the bar higher for ourselves, thereby elevating the standard of our performance. There are so many competitions which are being held in Chennai every now and then, where we get to develop a healthy relationship with our peers and also get to watch them and get a lot of takeaways from them as well. So I think competitions are also a very important strength in Chennai. I will move on to the weaknesses. Thank you. Huge number of dancers for a limited set of opportunities. Natasha mentioned that. Chennai has a huge number of talented dancers. Even though there are a lot of sabhas which provide numerous opportunities, the number of dancers here outnumber the number of opportunities available. So there is a big gap in the number of sabhas and the number of dancers here, which make it seem as if the opportunities existing are always not enough. Hence, there is a heavy competition between dancers, which sometimes can also be healthy, but there's always competition between dancers for the opportunities existing. Next slide, please. Highly expensive art form. Manisaka mentioned this. Dance is a highly expensive art form. A dancer has to invest a lot in costumes, jewelry, makeup, orchestra, stage, sometimes lighting if required, and so on and so forth. So a lot of passionate dancers may not be able to continue their artistic journey because of financial constraints. Tendency of the young dancers to change gurus. Of late, there is a growing tendency in young dancers to change their gurus and styles. Since Chennai has numerous accomplished dance teachers here, This tendency is even more prevalent here, is what I feel. Next slide. Not much financial gains through professional dancing. Generally, I mentioned this also. It is sad that as of today, professional dancing alone, cannot suffice the monetary needs of most dancers. He or she must be taking up other allied professions like teaching or singing or even other professional jobs during the daytime to be able to survive and balance financially. And finally, family support. Some of the talented dancers are not endowed with a good family support. I personally feel a good family support is essential for shaping up a good dancer. Moving on to the opportunities. Lots of organizations host programs throughout the year. As I mentioned earlier, there are numerous sabhas in Chennai which conduct dance festival not only during the month of March, but also throughout the year. So hence, there are so many opportunities available to perform during the course of the year. Programs by renowned artists for youngsters to watch and learn. Some organizations host the performances of senior and accomplished dancers, from which youngsters like me you get an opportunity to watch them and learn from them. My guru often says that it is essential for a dancer to watch more performances so that we understand the nuances and intricacies of every style in the dance. Workshops conducted throughout the year. There are various workshops conducted through the course of the year by organizations through which we get to learn from legends and renowned gurus. Organizations like Abhay conduct workshops regularly where we learn rare and unique pieces from legends, and we also get to interact face to face with them. So I think workshops are also a big opportunity in Chennai. Opportunities for dancers to pursue dance-related academic courses. Chennai has a lot of art-based institutions and organizations which provide Bharatanatyam-based diploma and degree courses for dancers who are willing to take up Bharatanatyam as their full-time career. This enables the dancer to add value academically also. Finally, inclusion of Bharatanatyam as a curricular activity in schools. So according to the latest education policy, it is mandatory to include fine arts in CBSE schools curriculum. So central board schools have now started including Bharatanatyam as one of their curricular subjects. In fact, in my school when I was young, Chennai, Bharatanatyam is a compulsory subject in my primary years. So from 1 to 3, all of us had to take up Bharatanatyam, all the boys, all the girls. We did our tests and gradings in Bharatanatyam, and post which it became an optional subject for us. Nowadays, schools like DAV have also brought in dance as an optional subject for youngsters, which kindles the interest in the art form in young minds. Students always have the opportunity to approach a private teacher later if interested. Moving on to the threats, the practice of pay to perform. A lot of us have mentioned this. Pay to perform practice existing in Chennai is most definitely the biggest threat. As I had already mentioned, dance is already an expensive industry. Most dancers try to get the best orchestra available because music plays the most important role in a dance program. And to add to it, there are people, for example, my party, she tells my amma, so we have to invest a lot more in costumes as well, which is also takes a lot. In addition to all these costs, paying large amounts to the sabhas drain the dancer financially. So this also demotivates them from practicing this art form. In fact, I feel it should be the other way around, where the artist is paid to perform. Complicated selection process. There are certain expectations on the appearances of a dancer on stage. Sometimes good talent alone does not assure us a selection. A lot of other matters, a lot of other things are matter, the criteria of which none of us are able to understand. the role of connections and favoritism, like every other industry, connections and favoritism also exist in this one. Dancers who have a lot of connections find their path to success easier in this industry than someone with similar talent who's completely new and doesn't carry this advantage. Preference for NRIs. As much as we are proud of the NRIs who perform with a lot of passion and dedication, they are also a threat to the local dancers because they seem to have a better chance to get an opportunity during the season than a local talent with similar level of talent. The rise of social media and live telecasts. Social media could be an opportunity to reach a wider audience, but at the same time, it presents itself as a bigger threat because many Rasikas prefer to stay at home and watch the performances online or through live telecasts than taking efforts to come into the auditorium and thereby support the dancers. So with that, I would like to conclude. Chennai as a cultural hub is most attractive for the dancers because of its wonderful strengths and opportunities. However, unless the threats are addressed and some of them are converted into opportunities, a number of passionate and talented dancers may not be able to pursue dance as their professional career. I really hope that we address the threats. I would like to once again thank Allah for having me here, and I would also like to thank my Guru Shri Kannan and my parents and my brother for their constant guidance and support. Thank you and namaskar.
Final presentation, I request you all to stay. Meghna Krishnan is not with us today, but she sent us a video. Meghna Krishnan is a professional Bharatanatyam dancer, received rigorous training for the last 24 years. Has gathered extensive stage experience over the years, both as a solo dancer and as part of group productions. She is currently pursuing advanced training under the guidance of Rajit and Vijna. Previously trained under the tutelage of Kalyan Jain Subramanian for 12 years. Meghna holds a bachelor's degree in economics from Stella Maris College and master's in fine arts in Bharatanatyam from Shastra University, Tanjore, under the guidance of Dr. Padma Subramanian and institution Nrityodaya. Meghna also writes and edits content across different media on a variety of subjects ranging from travel to the arts. Finally, please may I request you to play Meghna's presentation.
Namaskaram. I am Meghna Krishnan, a Bharatanatyam dancer from Chennai. I'm so thrilled to be a part of this event on so many counts. First, because we're all going to be discussing everything dance in Chennai. Second, because I get to share, in my case, virtual stage with artists whose work I truly admire. And third, because of the warmth with which Akhila invited me to participate. Thank you, Akhila. I'll cherish your kindness always. Chennai's biggest strength is its resilience. The show always goes on. We have always found a way to nurture the arts, be it a flood, cyclone, or pandemic. As we all know, the COVID 19 pandemic brought everything to a standstill, unlike ever before. Somehow, we harness the power of technology and the internet to keep the fire burning. Amidst all this, we even raised a little money to offer to those who might have needed it. Another one of Chennai's strengths is the extent of resources available here. Be it dancers, teachers, musicians, technicians, resource persons, organizations that promote and facilitate the arts, tailors of costumes, and most importantly, blouses. Sound engineers and recording studios, stores that sell all kinds of saris, dance material, and cosmetics, you will find most of the essential elements of the dance ecosystem here. Chennai is constantly reverberating with a modern and evolving culture on the one hand, and a traditional lived heritage that is passed down from one generation to another. This duality gives us immense fodder for imagination and inspiration. Being a dancer in Chennai, or from any part of the south really, allows us easy access to a vast number of temples, palaces, and similar places of historical significance, thereby acting as a gateway to both the past and the future. Such exposure helps us to understand better the cultural roots that our arts are steeped in. Notions of a cultural center are always subject to change. 200 years ago, Tanjavur was the reigning capital for several centuries. Political changes have now bestowed Chennai that spot. We don't know for how long Chennai will be an epicenter, but the sheer proliferation of those associated with the arts seeking to lay their roots in this city catapults us to being leaders of some sort. Leaders always have the pesky task of shouldering responsibilities and paving the way. The remaining three parts of my presentation come from this idea of Chennai being a cultural capital. I see two areas that need work. One is that Chennai promotes Bharatanatyam almost to the exclusion of any other dance form. Predominantly, major stages for the traditional arts are assigned to Bharatanatyam or Carnatic music. However, we are far richer than just these two. If we are to be a cultural capital or global leaders, then I see this as a significant drawback. We have to galvanize patronage and audiences for diverse forms of artistic expression. There needs to be a constant dialogue between different forms of dance and music for this industry to grow, without which I fear stagnation will soon set in. Another crucial aspect that could improve is in constructing spaces for rehearsal and practice outside the teacher's studio. Our teacher's studio is not accessible to us at all points in time, and dancers often resort to practicing in whatever space they get, contributing significantly to the risk of injury. This is an impediment even for established dancers who do not have the resources to construct their own space. Therefore, we need more affordable and accessible spaces with suitable flooring, lighting, mirrors, and changing rooms. In a city teeming with artists, we could do great things by fostering a culture of practice. Cultural heritage is a global hot topic, but Chennai hasn't really caught up yet. Audiences outside India are more receptive to engaging with material they don't fully understand than those at home. Maybe it is the issue of taking for granted what we already have. But given the changing sensibilities of a global population, I see an excellent potential to leverage the immense tangible and intangible cultural wealth of Chennai. Doing so allows us to transform what is essentially just 2 hours in a dance hall into a full fledged cultural immersion unique to Chennai. Such an experience has to be crafted separately for those who know Chennai and what it has to offer, which is going to be harder, and for those who don't. We can provide them means and tools to better appreciate the cultural context of these arts so that they may be able to assimilate what we perform on stage. All this is done with the hope that the artistic reach becomes more universal and ultimately and most importantly, the dancer is able to command better remuneration for themselves. At its very top level, tangible and intangible cultural heritage is a political topic requiring the apex cultural organizations of a country and its political leaders to battle it out. But it is better when fueled from the grassroots, where artists take the initiative to organize and pitch themselves optimally. Though this rebranding and repackaging is a tricky tightrope, if Chennai wakes up to it with a truly collaborative spirit, we could work magic. The biggest threat that we need to tackle is the economics of performance. Pursuing a career in performance is ridiculously exhausting and expensive, especially in the initial years. There's the cost of the orchestra, photography, videography, stitching costumes, arranging for makeup, the list is endless. Professionally recorded music is out of the question unless the dancer has saved enough to afford it. Even when cultural organizations offer the dancer a payment, it barely begins to cover 1/10 of the expenses they incurred to stage it. Sponsorship for individual dancers is arbitrary, depending purely on social capital and generational wealth. This inhibitive investment becomes a primary and valid source of discouragement for those looking to take this up full time. Then there is the raw nerve of cultural organizations that charge a fee in return for a platform. While it is only fair that dancers throw their arms up in protest, we must also examine the challenges these organizations face. This then begs the question, what is the utility of a dance performance? What are the clear roles and responsibilities of these stakeholders and what's in it for them? How do we give them their due without being exploited? Despite having a vibrant artistic community for centuries and for being home to the unbroken lineage of the Margari festival, we have yet to define a dancing professional. Dancers of all proficiency and experience levels compete for the same opportunities. Is a professional dancer someone who earns from the performance of dance? Is that even possible? Or is it determined by the quality and intent of their performance? Is a professional dancer someone who is engaged in dance and dance related activities all day? What does professional dancing entail? These are hard questions everyone has been discussing. It seems impossible that we will arrive at an answer because the economics of dance, funnily enough, do not work in favor of the dancer. There are many dangers to not defining who the professional is. Foremost, being a random distribution of opportunity, not heeding merit or experience. Merit is a problematic concept in today's world, rightfully so, where we have vitriolic debates about the authenticity of voices and cultural suppression. Notwithstanding all these challenges, we must still arrive at a basic filtering system going beyond the politics of performance and history. Therefore, by equating time and effort with money, putting a price on dance is paramount. Putting together this discussion has been such a fruitful experience for me. I have been able to look at my city through a fresh pair of eyes and from a very holistic perspective. It reminds me of all the reasons why I get maddeningly frustrated with Chennai and the dance industry, but also why I love it so much. Thank you so much for this space and opportunity.